Alright, hey guys, so today I finished This Is Gonna Hurt, the Nikki Sixx book. And so basically I'm gonna give you my review of it real fast here. Alright, so this book covered a bunch. It basically started from 1989, when he was somewhat clean and sober. It goes from then until 2011. Alright, so basically this book is interesting. I would say, like I said, it feeds off the heroin diaries. It covers Nikki's theories on life, like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, which I totally agree with. And these magazines, like People, and like the OK magazines, all the celebrity magazines that publish these 100 most beautiful celebrities. These lists. It's not right. The real beauty of a person is in their inside of their body. You can't necessarily see it. And even, let's say what's wrong with normal people is what he's basically bringing up and all this. And definitely one of my favorite topics from one of my lessons that I've learned from this book is not to judge off of those lists and whatnot, and just everybody is beautiful in their own way. All right, the next kind of section that this book is about is the forming of his band 6 a.m. with James Michael, I believe it is, and DJ Ashba who's from Guns N' Roses. And basically how when the heroin diaries, that was about his struggle with drug addiction. This book is about afterwards, and it's actually supposed to be showcasing his photography, there's a lot of that beautiful photography in there. It's definitely, if you guys hasn't read it, and check the photography out. It's really amazing. And it basically like I said, recaps the heroin diaries and gives the history of Motley Crue. A little brief synopsis, and then gives basically Nikki goes into detail with and talks about every band member, and puts some dialogue from every band member about Nikki, and how they basically view the relationship. It's pretty interesting. It's similar to the Motley Crue biography book, The Dirt, but it's less in your face and uncensored kind of. Alright, this book also, when they get to this part about Mick Mars, he also talks about that experience when they found him basically alone in a concrete room, when they were going to go out for a tour and out for an album. I believe it was 2008. He was found bare, and I don't know if he was naked, but just very weak and all this. So he talks about that and how that had an effect on him and wanting to help his friend. Alright, the other touching part, one of my favorites in this book, is about Nikki the day he confronts his mom about his sister Lisa, who was sent to a mental hospital in California while Nikki was a kid, because the mom couldn't take care of her because she had so many disabilities. He finally says, "Okay, Mom, I want to know where she is," and he gets mad at her and all this, and finally he finds out where she is, and he talks about this in the heroin diaries and in The Dirt about it was too late, unfortunately, that she was by the time they got a hold of one another, she had unfortunately passed away. It's definitely really depressing there. But it's good to see that raw emotion, I think, in a book like that. And he also talks about his relationship with his dad and how he has no respect for him because he led his life to be, even though he's not apologizing for his life, he led his life to be the track that it is. If he was there, maybe things would have been different. But it's definitely really interesting. Alright, the next part is, I entitled it in my notes here, The Rebirth of Nikki, and it was actually part of the book. And the interesting part about this is that he goes to a therapist after a while and talks about how Motley Crue is a therapist. He talks about a personal therapist, and says, the therapist says, you don't need to love your parents just because they gave birth to you, essentially. But and brings up an issue of, why am I still fighting these demons? And he talks about that a little bit, and it's really interesting. And he talks about his experience with transcendental meditation, I believe it is, and the Maharishi Mohesh Yogi, who I guess I used to say trained at the Beatles, I forget the name exactly, I forget the story, it was a while ago, but Yeah, so he went to go meditate with another person, and learn some valuable lessons about that. It's pretty interesting. One of those lessons was, and as he talks about this, is a book that changed his life. And I'm sorry if I get this guy's name wrong. Is the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Sorry, and it's basically the four principles to live by. And this is one of my sorry, get this out of the way. One of my the top lessons that I'll get from this book is the first lesson would be impeccable with your words. Always follow what you're going to say. Let's say you're going to beat somebody up. This is an example he uses. And then the person says, "Oh, sure you're not." You better be damn sure you're going to go beat that person up. Just be true to your word. Essentially, is what that says. The second thing that really takes on a new level with me is don't take anything personally. Basically, if people are stupid, don't take anything that people do or say personally, essentially. And this is true with me, like I said, because I have cerebral palsy. And people, you would think I'd get annoyed after a while when people look at me. But, when I'm walking down the street or walking in the store or something. But at this point in my life, I'm just tired, and just wave it off. And I can't let this stuff bother me. Otherwise, I get nowhere in life. So I got to, I got to look past those people and just, All right, the third topic, little principle to live by, is don't make any assumptions. Don't assume that if you see somebody, don't assume they're going to be evil. Don't assume they're going to be, get to know the person is basically what it says. And the fourth thing is always do your best in life. Don't go half-ass is what I take it. And it's regardless if it's school or if it's a job or if it's a marriage or whatever. Just go full force and give it your best shot is what I think it is. All right, what I like to interpret it is the next part is about his life and how he's basically reflecting on his life, and has a lot of his photography, and it's really interesting, great photography, like I said. If you guys want to check that stuff out, and he talks about his relationship with Kat Von D at the time, the tattoo artist, and how he feels about her and how much he's in love with her. And unfortunately, they broke up for a while, but then now I think they're back together, I believe. It was written last year. I'll have to check into that. But so he talks about how much he loves her and how much they broke up for a while and all this. He also talks about Motley Crue, the Crue Fest 2 in 2009, and talks about how much the truth of what these artists that are touring think. Essentially it's a grind out there on the road is what he says, and when they say, "Oh, we love you guys" and whatever, they may not necessarily mean that. These artists have good and bad days and all this, and he just says just don't take it to heart, if they come off as a little mean or whatever. And he's just telling the truth. It's definitely a good insight. I'm going to the concert tomorrow, so we'll see how that is. But alright, so basically my interpretation of this is that it's a follow-up to the Heroin Diaries. I would for sure check it out if you're a fan of Motley Crue or any biography book. This is actually considered a memoir, I think. For me in general, with this book and the CD, I would take away a couple things, and I can just think of the song names. It's basically Life is Beautiful is the song name that comes. It's in the book, talks about that. Basically, it's beauty's on the inside. I talked about this before. That's one of my lessons I'm gonna take away. Don't judge people. If they're bigger. If it's a bigger person, don't judge them. Don't say, "Oh, they're on the heavy side." Well, they could be the nicest person in the world. So just try. Next time I go out, I'm gonna try not to judge people that way. And I'm trying to work on that now. And then the thing that was, like I said, with me with cerebral palsy, the message that comes across is a song titled "Skin," and it talks about where don't let people judge you, and don't take that to heart, because they don't know you, and once they get to know you, then they can make that assumption. Alright guys, well, thank you for watching this review. I know it's probably a little lengthy. Let's see how long we are here. We're about 9 minutes. So like I said, thank you for watching. I'm gonna have an album review corner up tomorrow, hopefully. So thank you guys. Have a nice night.